It's a big summer in the capital as Hearts and Hibs prepare for the new season. But how are the fans feeling and what are they looking for come August? Hello, I'm Charlotte Cohen and this is the Scottish Football Podcast. All the news, views and analysis you need on Wednesday the 27th of May. Hearts came so close, but how do the Tynecastle club build for next season?
And for us to get to 80 points, it's unbelievable shooting, for us. Great effort for everybody, and I couldn't be more proud of the team.
And with their talisman captain now gone, how vital is this window? Meanwhile, Hibs qualify for Europe, but how do the fans feel about David Gray and his side?
We've let ourselves down post-split. There'll be obviously a lot of time now to reflect. This is what the end of the season is. We'll take the time to reflect on the full season, what if here, what if there. But ultimately, after 38 games, the league certainly doesn't lie.
Is there added pressure on the Easter Road club to keep up with Hearts? It promises to be a very busy summer in Edinburgh.
Low ball across! Goal! Henderson scores! The Bowie's at the edge of the box, chance to shoot, scores! 3-0! 3-0 Hibernian!
Today we are all about the capital clubs.
The Scottish Football Podcast from BBC Sports Scotland.
We are taking a deep dive into Edinburgh's Big Two today, joined by a representative from each half of the city, Joel Sked from the Hearts Standard. Morning, Joel. One word then to describe Hearts' season. If you can pick one.
I honestly don't think there's a word that can describe the past 12 months or so. Captivating.
Nice, I like that. And alongside us, Harry McArthur from the Down the Slope podcast. Morning, Harry. Same question to you. One word to describe Hibs' season.
Morning. I would say almost, if I could add a plural to almost.
Nice one. Well, let's go a bit deeper on that, Joel. Sum up last season, if you can, using as many words as you need to, the emotions that came with it. Just how, from your point of view, did last season go for you?
I mean, if you're to take a step back and maybe take a step away from the last 2 weeks, then it was a hugely successful season. There was one-off loads of highs, loads of brilliant memories for fans, new heroes that emerged, and one that came so close to being the most special season that the vast majority of Hearts fans have ever experienced. And then it got to the last 2 weeks where it was a mixture. It seems that the team kind of ran out of legs with injuries, and then there was a whole heap of controversy that won't be forgotten in EH11 for many years. I would say, but overall, if Hearts fans, if you offered them a second place finish, Champions League qualification, and all the wins and some of the kind of the journey there. For example, I know Harry was going to give as good as is going to give plenty, but 3 derby wins and late on, people would have would have absolutely taken that. But it was the manner in which the season finished. It's left a kind of bit of a very sour taste. But at the same time, bigger picture, it was a hugely successful season and like the start of a new era at the club.
I suppose that's the big thing for Hearts, as you say, Joel. Like, if you'd have said to probably yourself, any Hearts fan at the start of the season, this is how it's going to end up, you'd think, oh, great. But see, to have come so close,
yep, and
then have it almost ripped away from you, almost negates all of the good stuff, because you kind of can't focus on that, because all you can really focus on is just we missed out, basically.
Yeah, there was just what led the league for like 150 days, I think it was, something like that, and then basically we're just trying to think, like 7 added on time, 15 minutes or so, whatever, from winning the first league in 66 years, and then in the manner it happened, it was just so deflating, and it's been difficult for fans to process, like being able to process it, because so much happened in those 2 weeks, and then so much has happened in the aftermath, where you've got the fallout from the Celtic game, you've got the fallout from the refereeing decisions in the final week of the season, and then just when you think Hearts fans were going to get a break and be able to kind of think back and reflect on the season. You've got your captain leaving on a free transfer to Rangers, so it was a season where there was so much emotion. We're just like, loads of Hearts fans are just not hadn't been geared to dealing with a title battle and all the emotions that come with that. And then you just add in everything from the final 2 weeks of the season where there was anger, there was frustration, a feeling of injustice, a feeling of defiance, a feeling of pride. And it's just like everyone could just do with a few weeks off down at Tynecastle Park. I think that's the best way to put it.
Absolutely. I suppose, Harry, from a Hibs point of view, we talked quite a lot this season about how Hibs were actually having a pretty decent season. It was just almost eclipsed by the fact that Hearts were doing so well. But I wonder how you see this season having gone overall from a Hibs point of view.
Yeah, I think objectively from the start of the season, if you'd said that we had a pretty decent showing in Europe, like when I said almost earlier, we were like minutes away from a penalty shootout against Midtjylland, who ended up getting through to the knockout phase. Then we beat Partizan Belgrade, which is massive. It's a huge club. And then Legia Warsaw, if Martin Boyle's shot drops 2 inches deeper from 40 yards out, Hibs get through to the group stage. Like, the context of Hearts definitely impacted it. There was times that I'm not going to shy away from the fact that I had to debate whether or not I wanted Hibs to win at the weekend, which was just a really creepy and weird feeling. I think Gray's done really well. There were so many times that it feels that as soon as the fan base actually start turning on him, that's when he gets a huge result and pulls it out the bag. Like going into the top six, going into the Falkirk game, I don't think many people believed in Hibs to win that game, and then you end up winning it 3-1, and then you go and beat Rangers at Ibrox. So overall, I think the season was pretty good, but as you say, when Hearts are top of the league and almost winning it at Celtic Park and just bottling it towards the end. We had a good feeling on the final day of the season, but it's just scary. And the thing is, for me as well, on the flip side, I think if it was the other way around and Hibs were chasing to the title, I think that the noise we were making at the end of the season, Hearts fans would absolutely be entitled to do the same. So all in all, it was a really weird season. And I think it sets up for next year to be more exciting. I think that Hearts obviously done really well, but I think with the context of them having European games, Celtic and Rangers likely strengthening, and I think the fact that Hearts done so well will give belief to teams like Hibs, Aberdeen, even Motherwell, who had a really good season. So I think it'll be a really exciting 26, 27, and there's no reason that Hibs can't at least aim to push up to third, because I think that it'll be a very different looking league as well.
Yeah, 100%. I suppose, Joel, Hearts, though, will be without Lawrence Shankland, who Rangers will now be with. How big a blow is that for Hearts? And I don't know, how do you feel about it personally as well?
Oh, it's too soon. It's a huge blow. I mean, if you were looking at if you were looking to the squad and the one player that you don't want to miss, it's Lawrence. Don't want to lose. Sorry, it's Lawrence Shankland, and you're not trying to replace a 20 goal a season striker. You're having to replace a leader in the dressing room. I think that gets underplayed a bit, just how influential he is within the squad. But you're also having to replace a talismanic figure, a brilliant link striker. I think again, unless you watch him every week, I don't think you get an appreciation of just how intelligent he is. His vision is brilliant, his awareness, his technique is excellent. No doubt you won't get the minutes he deserves at the World Cup, but he certainly should be. He certainly should be front and centre of Steve Clarke's thoughts. But from a Hearts perspective, yeah, it's a really big job. From a personal point of view, gutted. He's been my favourite player for a long time now. I just think it's. I'm just surprised we've had him for 4 seasons. I thought club should have been knocking down the door a couple of seasons ago after his 31 goal campaign. I can understand the anger amongst the Hearts fans. I think the reception he'll get back when he comes to Tynecastle will be spicy, just with the manner of the exit. And I think that's a big thing, is that a lot of fans are understandably irate around the manner and timing of it. A lot of fans feel duped around his contract situation. It was a 3-year contract, but it wasn't publicised around the break clause. No one had, very few people knew about it and he's obviously taken that, and it's just a really difficult one for fans to stomach so close after a very difficult ending to the season. So yes, it's going to be very interesting to see how Hearts replace him. But it's a mammoth task but not an impossible task, of course, with Jamestown. But it's a big task on when you factor in that Cammy Devlin could potentially move on, Craig Halkett is going to be out for the majority of next season. That it's like the spine of last season's team is needing to be potentially changed or replaced.
What about then the fact that he's gone to Rangers, a team that Hearts finished above this season, a team that you're going to be competing with in that, potentially in that title race again next season?
So he's made it's no secret that it's his boyhood club and he's wanted to play for them for a number of years. Rangers have made a mistake by not going in for him much sooner. It was obvious. It was the failings of previous management at Rangers not to go for him. So completely understand why they've pushed to sign him. Still, part of me, just the way that Rangers operate is like there's still something that could go wrong there. Not maybe with Shanklin, but just with Rangers as a whole. So yeah, I'm not too worried about Rangers at the moment. I've got enough. We've got enough to worry about at Hearts to try and replace him. But there's no doubt that it was the most obvious signing from a Rangers point of view, unfortunately.
And you mentioned the potential outgoings and, kind of big players for Hearts, but who do you see taking on the armband for next season?
Craig Halkett would have been the obvious one. Cammy Devlin, if he stays, then he's obvious, but at the moment it probably looks like he's more likely to go. So then you're looking at potentially Stuart Finlay, potentially Harry Milne. So yeah, those are the two off the top of my head that I think are the most likely to take on the armband. But yes, you've got Frankie Kent as well. He's expected to leave as well, so he was another one. So the four captains that Hearts had, Craig Gordon, so number 5, he's out of contract, unsure about his future. So yeah, you're going down to kind of captain number 6 or 7 in the squad.
Lots of changes incoming at Hearts. On the other side, though, Harry, you are keeping your talismanic frontman, Martin Boyle. How pleased were you to see him put pen to paper on another deal?
Yeah, delighted. He's one of those players a lot of Hibs fans kind of go hot and cold on. I think he's a really good player, and I think he's a big game player as well. I think he's one of the players that when he goes to, I think he scored like 6 times against Rangers in a row, or something mental like that. He's pitched up with a few derby goals over the years too, so he's a really important player. And I think with Joe Newell being injured for so long, I think he's really developed as a captain on the park. So for me, it's a massive signing. I think forward options and wide options is something we need to improve on. So I think towards the end of next season, I don't necessarily want to see him as an automatic starter, but I think he's absolutely got valuable minutes to give Hibs. So I was cheesing on the last day of the season. That was a nice thing that Hibs done, announcing that he was going to stay.
And you touched on before about Hearts' success this season giving confidence to teams like Hibs that they can go and challenge at the top. I wonder if Hibs fans feel like there's a bit of pressure then to catch up with Hearts this season, do you think?
I don't think it's so hard to not, like, the thing is for me, I think what is such a great thing about being a Hearts and Hibs fan is you've got the other team to kind of rub it in their face when things go right for you and not right for them. So it's always hard not to compare yourself. But realistically, Hibs should be aiming for Europe every year. Now we've obviously lost one of the European spots. I think from a Hibs perspective, it needs to be finishing the top 4. And ideally, I think we need to do a lot better in the cups. Because for me, the 3 key things is league performance, cup performance, and derbies. And I know Joe touched on it earlier, that we lost 3 of the derbies this year. One of them we lost because we lost the heads and somehow got 2 really stupid red cards. The other 2, I think, were absolute coin flips, and Hearts ended up coming out on top of both the Hearts derbies. But the cup performances were really unacceptable. So in terms of chasing Hearts, I don't really see that as an issue. I think they will decline because in theory they'll have a lot more games to contend with. I think they played the minimum volume of games this season if you exclude the group stage of the League Cup. So for me, and they've got quite a bloated squad and they're going to lose a few key players. So I think it'll balance out. I think we've got a big summer ahead of trying to get players that will allow Gray to be a bit more diverse in his selection. I think we are kind of bedded to three at the back at the moment, which has worked for us, but I think the lack of width we've got, especially now with Ellie Yuan, who I know didn't feature much, but we've not really got any wide players in an attacking sense. We've got fullbacks who are great and wing-backs who are great, but we need to actually get some wingers in for next year. And I'd rather say that we're chasing Celtic and Rangers than chasing Hearts. That's my objective.
Are you keeping the faith in David Gray then?
Yeah, for sure. As I say, every time I've doubted Gray, the only time I actually ever said I wanted him sacked, he ended up going on the longest unbeaten run in my life. And then the only time I was like, oh, maybe people have got a point, he ended up winning at Ibrox 4 days later. So if he keeps proving me wrong whenever I doubt him, I'll be a very happy man.
What about the summer window, Joel, from a Hearts point of view? Because we've obviously seen some very, very successful signings. You look at the likes of Claudio Braga. Kazaridis kind of went off the boil a wee bit towards the end, but no doubt that he's been an excellent arrival. But how happy have you been with the players that have come in, and how hopeful are you of another successful summer window?
Yeah, I've been pretty happy how it's worked. I think it was always the model that you've got guys who will come in, hit the ground running, guys who will maybe take a wee bit of time to adapt, and then as always you're never going to get hit on every arrival, and then when you bring in so many across the course of the season, there'll be a few that just don't work out. For example, Islam Chesnikov, is that he was a great example why we as Hearts fans should never hype signings, because there was so much hype over him when he comes in, and there could be a chance that he leaves us this summer with interest, I think, back from his homeland, back in Kazakhstan. But I think you take confidence from the likes of Braga and Kazaridis, Magnuson and McEntee, and the success stories that it was the first summer window, and then you build on it in the second window. There's European football. There's hopefully more budget there to bring players in, and it's not just the players that will come in this summer. You look at the likes of mentioned Magnuson, Kajota and Kabori, who are three players I think will hopefully make the next step up and become kind of more central figures and more prominent figures. And then also the fact that the club's record signing has barely featured, so he should hopefully come back in, and you've got him to add to it. So yeah, there's plenty to be excited about, plenty to be confident about.
Harry, you touched on the lack of width, or maybe needing a bit more attacking width for Hibs. Is that kind of the priority that you're hoping Hibs are going to be looking for this window?
I think it's really important to get at least two really solid wingers that one can play on each wing, just so if we need to mix it up we can do. But the middle of the park's been a massive issue. I think Triantis absolutely came onto a game and went into takeover mode when we went onto that unbeaten run that I mentioned earlier, and I thought towards the end of the season I think that Josh Mulligan was coming on so much, and I just felt he was so primed to actually just kind of carry the team forward and be a essentially dominant force for Hibs towards the end of the season. And I do think he's got the ability to do that next year, but I think the middle of the park was a huge issue. I think Dan Barlaser could ping a really nice diagonal, but I think David Gray typically builds his team based off physical attributes and players being athletes that can just hound players the entire time, and I just don't think that was his game. So not saying that the entire reason we weren't great in midfield was one player, but I just think we need a bad B word, for want of better phrasing, in the middle of the park that players don't want to come up against, that'll just stick it on someone, that we've kind of been missing for quite a few years now. And yeah, so I think middle of the park and width, and then probably an attacking option. Hibs put out the retained list yesterday. I did think up front, I think Owen Elding's an absolute stud. I think he's going to make Hibs a lot of money, and he's going to have a really good few seasons for us, but I don't want him to feel the pressure of having to carry the front line of an entire football club at only 19. So I think we could really do with an extra. So wingers, attacking options, middle of the park. Nice and easy job
nice
for the recruitment team this
list.
Summer. Indeed.
Well, let's end with our quickfire prediction questions. try and keep it as brief as possible. One word if you can. Joel, I'll come to you first. After next season, will we be talking about Heartsing it or Hibsing it?
Always Hibsing it.
Harry?
Definitely Hibsing it in the best way possible.
Right, Joel, what is the problem position at Hearts?
Right back.
Harry, what about at Hibs?
I'll say centre mid.
Right, Joel, within the realms of reason, who is the signing that you want to see Hearts make this summer?
Oh. Josh Mulligan would be amusing.
Harry, what about for Hibs?
This is me Harry Towning. Give me Ben Stanway from Partick Thistle. He's a wee baller.
Right, Joe, who in your squad just now is going to be the key player next season?
I'll go for Thomas Magnuson.
Harry, what about at Hibs?
If he decides to keep the head in big games, I think that Felix Paslak he's been a very good player, and I think he'll be a great player next year.
And finally, Joel, where are Hearts going to finish in May?
At least third.
Harry?
Well, I was going to say above Hearts, so at least second.
Love the confidence. Well, that is all we've got time for. Many thanks to Joel and Harry, and thank you for listening. Remember, we're here with new episodes of the Scottish Football Podcast bright and early every day, so make sure you don't miss out. Subscribe on BBC Sounds and have push notifications turned on your phone. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and we'll catch you again tomorrow.
On BBC Sounds. From life aboard a Russian submarine to chairman of Hearts Football Club.
At this stage, he was the hero.
But as his controversial decisions escalated...
They said, we're going to sack George. And I'm going, you can't do this.
How did Vladimir Romanov go from Hearts saviour to a wanted man?
They caused a whole load of chaos and havoc.
Romanov, Tsar of Hearts. Listen now on BBC Sounds.